This is the Nightshade Cult, a podcast macabre.
We bid you welcome. Enter freely and of your own will.
I'm Nick Graham.
And I'm David Graves.
And we'll be your horror hosts for this dissection of Luc Besson's 2025 gothic fantasy romance, Dracula, A Love Tale.
Good evening.
You see it both ways. You see it Dracula and you see Dracula, A Love Tale.
I think the U.S. release was just Dracula.
Yeah.
International was A Love Tale.
Yeah. I like the A Love Tale. I mean,
yeah, Dracula
it sets this version apart because it is very much a romantic fantasy. It's not a horror movie per se.
Yeah, I think that having that on there, not only does it change your perception, but it also kind of identifies it, sort of. There's so many Draculas. Yes,
there is a lot of Draculas, and this is an interesting take on the mythology. I've been very curious about this movie since I saw some set interviews with Luc Besson when they were in production, and it became clear to me from the interviews that he had never read the book.
Yeah, I actually called out a quote in some of my notes. We'll get to that later, about how that was evidence that he hasn't read the book, because as I talked about, I think last episode maybe, that I'm working on Dracula's brother. I'm rereading Dracula and just poring over it, making notes about, on this date this happens here, like that. I'm studying it, and so it's very clear that Besson has no idea what he's getting into.
And listening or watching that interview, he kept referencing things he would say, as you know, in the book, and then he would reference something that was a creation of the Coppola Dracula film.
Yeah, it seemed to me that he thinks Coppola did a faithful recreation.
Yes.
And so he was essentially studying that as the Cliff Notes, so he didn't have to read the book. But truly, Coppola is fanfic, and this is fanfic of fanfic.
Yeah, and so when this movie debuted, I think at the Cannes Festival, the easy hack review of it was Luc Besson's Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
You say that it's hacked, but that's actually what I thought.
Well, I think there's quite a bit more original material here than that implies.
You mean the other movie he ripped off, The Perfume?
What is that a ripoff from something?
Oh yeah, I have it in here in my notes. There's a Perfume, the story of a murderer. That is a classic French film, and he lifted the core plot of that entirely.
Interesting. Yeah, because that whole thing of Dracula the perfumier is very strange.
He made a best of homage.
The gargoyle thing feels reminiscent of a couple other French folk tales, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, at least the Disney version.
Yeah.
Or like Beauty and the Beast kind of has that sort of thing where you have he's the beast in the castle, and he's got his animated friend. I guess we find out by the end of the movie that they're little children that he's turned into gargoyles.
Yeah,
it's never really explained. Cursed children, gargoyle minions. There's quite a bit of the Hammer Dracula in this too. I think he's definitely pulling from that as well.
I think that was largely in the performance. That there was some of that sort of on the meta level, though. It's interesting that they made this for $52 million. It does look big budget, but they haven't even come close to breaking even. This is like a big flop.
Yeah,
this is not making any money. Kind of crazy. And I guess it feels like this is in the shadow. This movie was released in the shadow of two really good vampire movies, Nosferatu and Sinners.
Oh, yes.
And so this is like...
throw Frankenstein in there, not a vampire movie, but it is...
classic horror.
Certainly in the shadow of Frankenstein also.
Yeah, you have these like top tier, really good classic horror remakes.
Yeah.
And then this one comes out and it's not horror. It's using a another movie's core plot hook as its core plot hook.
Yeah.
And it's not making money. Like, it's weird.
Well, and so I didn't go see it in the theater, which I normally would, but the buzz was bad, and so I figured not waste the money. And then we didn't immediately cover it on the podcast because it had been like a premium streaming option where it's like $20, and I was like, I don't, both of us renting it, that's like $40 we're out for something that I'm not even quite sure. I'm morbidly curious about, but not sure if I'm going to like. Ultimately, I won't bury the lead. I do enjoy this movie quite a bit. I've got a lot of...
It's got moments.
I've got quibbles, but all in all, like, I have a positive sort of feeling about it. It's, I've been telling people, I was like, it's not a good movie. I would not tell anyone that this is a good movie, but I did enjoy it. I liked it, and there was parts of it I think were really, really good.
Yeah, it's got parts, it's got moments, and I want to also cover before we jump into this movie and talk about Besson's artistic vision and all of that. I do want a disclaimer that he is a bona fide creep, a bad person.
Yeah.
He dated a 15-year-old, married and impregnated her when she was 16, then divorced her a few years later so he could get with Mila Jovovich on the filming of Fifth Element.
And that person you're talking about is the diva from the Fifth Element.
Maiwen Libesco.
Yeah.
And then he has also, and none of this was proven in court, it was dismissed for insufficient evidence, but not to be a totally woke dude, beta cuck. I believe victims, and during the whole Me Too movement, he was Me Too'd like 1,000 times, including more than one person accusing him of rape. So, he's a bad person. And this is one of those things, like, I put Besson in the same camp as, like, he's like a Burzum kind of guy. You can talk about the movie on its own merit, but you can't give him any flowers.
I am glad that you went the extra mile and looked at it.
I did a lot of reading about this, including, like, why was the rape charge dismissed? It wasn't because he was innocent. It was because it was long enough ago that the evidence wasn't fresh,
admissible or whatever. Yeah, I went into this with sort of a general squiggy feeling about him. I think maybe whenever we did our Fifth Element episode on the old podcast, which it would have been some years ago.
Yeah, that would have been like 2020.
So maybe not as much of that stuff was out then.
Yeah, I think so.
And so I had sort of the sense that he had been scandalized and a bit disgraced. Although, Roman Polanski lives in France. Also, France is notorious for sort of sheltering sex criminal artists.
And I mean, Leon the Professional, like, it's about him and his 15-year-old wife.
It is it felt problematic at the time.
It did. I wanted to try to think, like, no. Like, I remember thinking, this movie is really well done. It's got creepy, weird vibes, but I'm gonna think that it's altruistic. It's like platonic. But maybe it was platonic in the movie. It certainly was not in the real story.
Yeah.
Because that girl had a baby.
Oof. Yeah, it is The Professional. I remember watching that, and we're pretty close in age to Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling like it being very strange the way this girl is being treated. Like, someone who is like my age is being adultified in a uncomfortable way in that movie.
And as I was uncovering crap on this guy, there was one more. This is totally minor and not really not even in the same league as as him being a rapist and a pedophile. He is the movie poster in France that they released for this movie was a blatant ripoff of a Nosferatu poster design from Eggers' movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which poster is that?
It was the one designed by Eileen Steinbach. I don't have a picture of it. I was just reading about it. I was reading in scandal threads about Besson, seeing what I could read.
Okay.
I figured we should say that because
Yeah.
I don't want someone to put in the comments, how dare you talk so well about this filthy guy?
You just let him completely off the hook because he did a Dracula greatest hits.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about this movie, which I think is fanfic.
This poster?
I don't remember.
Okay.
He showed me one that looks like a triangle. I think that is the one, actually.
Because I do like that poster, but it is, I guess, like you said, reminiscent of, or very similar to a Nosferatu poster.
Well, it was bad enough that they pulled it, so...
Okay.
That's a thing.
All right.
What is with this guy? Why do people keep giving him, money and stuff?
I mean, he's made 3 bona fide classic films.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
He made
La Femme Nikita, Leon the Professional, and The Fifth Element.
And The Fifth Element's the best one out of those, honestly.
I mean, those are. I've never seen La Femme Nikita. But I just know it by.
It's okay.
I know it by reputation more than anything. But he's a really good director. That doesn't excuse.
He's not in this movie. This movie is shit.
Spicy take. All right. Well, we're eager to get into this. Let's roll the music and come back with a dissection. When a Transylvanian prince's wife is murdered, the prince denounces God and is cursed to live as a vampire. He spends the next 400 years searching for the reincarnation of his lost love.
Yeah, that's about it. The plot of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Pretty much, with, like you said, a weird...
Perfume, the story of a murderer.
Yeah, and is it set in that, the court of Louis the 14th?
Yeah, it's an 18th century French courtly thing.
Yeah.
It's movies from 2006, and
So
it got better reviews than this movie across the board.
Fascinating. I'm very curious. I mean,
now you got to watch it.
I guess except for the perfume stuff, is so extraneous to this movie.
It should have been deleted.
That I don't really even understand. Here's what I like, and we should say this is written and directed by Luc Besson, so this is his baby across the board.
Yes.
The thing about the perfume story, I do like the idea that the French court is so decadent that no one even notices a vampire feeding in the middle of what they're doing, because they're having bacchanalian orgies where they're eating and throwing up and
I mean, I've also seen Interview with the Vampire.
There is a bit of Interview with the Vampire in this too. Yeah, I mean, let's rank it. The biggest thing comes from Coppola.
Absolutely, the whole plot.
Clearly, perfume is a big influence. The Hammer, the Terence Fisher Dracula is a big one. I mean, there's certainly visual homages to that.
Absolutely.
When they, there's street signs France this way and Transylvania this way, as though there's not half a dozen countries in between them. And Hammer's Dracula was totally you could cross the border from England into Transylvania and just nothing in between. We don't need to explain that.
That reminds me of The Mummy. You can roll a cart all the way to England with it.
It's just, just for expedience storytelling. It's just a cart ride away. You don't have to explain why it should take,
Mediterranean's tiny.
Months to complete these voyages. So Horror of Dracula, Perfume, Bram Stoker's Dracula. anything else?
And
then Hunchback slash Beauty and the Beast.
Notre Dame, Beauty and the Beast, and I definitely do think that you have to put Interview with the Vampire in there for the French, New Orleans scenes. But also, I think that Caleb Landry Jones is trying to channel Tom Cruise in much of his performance.
Yeah,
he really just wants to be Lestat the whole time.
He does go his old Dracula is Gary Oldman, his young Dracula is Tom Cruise.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was chatting about that with Carrie, and she even mentioned, she was like, that is no Lestat.
I like parts of his performance. We'll talk
No, he's not bad. And I actually think it's interesting because Besson, he wrote this after a conversation with Caleb Landry Jones.
Oh, interesting.
He considered Jones to be his muse for this movie after they did Dogman together.
Okay.
And he was like, we should do something else, blah, blah, blah. You'd be great as Dracula. I'm like paraphrasing. And Jones was interested in that.
Yeah.
And so he said, okay, great. I'll write it. We'll make this happen. And so he's not a Dracula fan. He's just super into Jones.
Okay.
Which is fine.
And this is for someone who is not a movie star, he's just been mostly like small parts in some things you've heard of. Like he's in that X-Men First Class, and he was on Twin Peaks: The Return. But to me, he's someone that you go, what do I know this guy from? When I see him, he's like, oh, that's the guy from X-Men. He was not that sort of memorable guy.
Yeah.
But he is someone that you generally like, I've seen this guy before. I think I like him. And this movie showcases it. Like, yeah,
he gets to do a big time movie star leading man thing. So if in future movies people know exactly what they're going to get if they're going to cast this guy as the leading man,
the lead of their movie,
because he does it, whether you like it or not. That's a stylistic thing. Okay. But this movie is crazy how it started as a muse, a conversation written for him. And here is the quote from Besson. It says, this is his words: "There's a romantic side in Bram Stoker's book that hasn't been explored that much. It's a love story about a man who waits 400 years for the reincarnation of his wife. That's the true heart of the story."
Yeah.
He never read the book. Not even once. Because Dracula doesn't really do much talking. It's mostly in the words of Mina.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Dracula speaks and he monologues in the opening of the book.
Yep. To Jonathan.
To Jonathan. And then is a specter that looms over the book for the rest of its, the rest of the 80% of the book.
It's a classic. I mean, there's a reason it's a classic vampire novel, and it's a classic trope of horror and thrillers that you showcase something scary in the beginning, you give them a peek of the monster, and then the monster is sort of a boogeyman through the rest of the movie or book. This is a perfect example of that, because this is not a love story. The book is not a love story.
Yeah.
He's a monster. He is straight up a villain.
Yeah. Well, this Dracula is 100% the protagonist.
Absolutely. And it has nothing to do with the book.
And at the end, when he's fighting the soldiers, that I'm never quite clear where the soldiers are coming from.
Yeah, who are these soldiers?
Did they come with France? Are they from the church? Who has sent them? But he's just...
I think they had to be the church, the priest. I think our Van Helsing priest guy.
Yeah, Christoph Waltz.
Yeah.
He
rallied them. Because the church, the
church has funds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially for vampire hunting. Well, he's chopping his way through them, and his gargoyles are power bombing them into the ground and everything. You're rooting for Dracula the whole time.
Yeah, he's the main guy.
There is absolutely no point where you're like, oh, I hope they rescue this girl from Dracula. I feel like, just leave them alone.
Yes.
let them go back to their castle. This is what they want.
Yeah, just let them go. Let them have their thing.
Yeah, no one has bothered this guy in his castle for 400 years. Now we lay siege to the castle now that he finally has his girl back.
I found the quote. Here's the other one. It says, another quote from Besson. "It's not Dracula. My fascination is with Caleb. We were chatting about roles that could work for him. I said, you'd be great as Dracula. Then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to write it."
Yeah. I know the book so well.
Yeah. He couldn't even be troubled to listen to the audiobook.
What's in a different language?
He speaks English. And Dracula's translated to everything.
Yeah. No, and that's, I started bringing it up on the podcast, like in the Dark Tidings section, whenever it was I first saw those interviews. And some of these quotes, I think, were from that interview that I saw. How confident he was when he so clearly hadn't done the work is so much of what fascinated me about this movie.
This is the confidence of a mediocre white man. They just say wrong things blatantly.
Well, and he's had a lot of success, although it's far in the past.
Oh, yeah. He's resting on his laurels.
Yeah, but he can still drum up funds. And, as we've talked about a lot of times, horror movies just make money, generally.
Yeah.
This one was probably... The CG castle is probably what's screwing them as far as...
and the Disney gargoyles. Oof.
Yeah. And then practical sets. They built all this stuff out. It was all, like... There's no location shooting, basically, except for the outdoor things, which I think they shot in Finland. Like
there's a bunch of Finland stuff.
But all of the indoor stuff is in built sets, and they are elaborate. The castle sets are very elaborate and detailed.
Sure.
And, the French court and the sanatorium where they have the lady vampire held captive. These are very expensive.
The Lucy
sets.
analog.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job. The movie looked good. I did not like, we're not to visuals yet, but I guess we could get into that because there's no more story to tell. It's just a ripoff.
Yeah, a ripoff of several other films.
This is just, you know what, honestly, this feels like ChatGPT wrote it. I mean... It's like, give me the plot of Dracula so that I can make it into a screenplay. No problem. Just trusted it.
Yeah, but ChatGPT would
do a better job, honestly,
and would not have there's so many choices, right? So choice, making Van Helsing into a priest and an agent of the church, and so there's this whole order of sort of occult vampire hunters within the church. That's a choice. Moving it from London to France is a choice that makes sense because you have a French cast, French filmmaker.
Sure.
They're just familiarizing it, but it is not something. It's always set in London. That's fundamental to the story.
Yeah.
So moving it to Paris is a choice, and making it so much of a romantic fairy tale is a choice that a chatbot wouldn't make. They're all choices that the filmmaker has to make. Whether we like these choices
how
or
long
not.
How long it takes to write a screenplay, I can't imagine you would do it without reading the novel.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine you would. It's like, oh, I'm going to, let's say he's done a bunch of these. He's good at it. He's skilled. Still, that's 100 hours for a skilled, fast writer. Right. And since you're trying to redo Dracula, you're not going to redo it from memory.
Yeah.
You had to do some sort of research.
I think he watched.
You just watched the movies.
I think he watched Terrence Fisher's Dracula.
He watched Hammer.
And he watched Coppola's Dracula. And
he probably even watched the original Dracula.
Yeah, probably. It's
just had a few movie nights.
It's 75 minutes. You know what I mean? That's a quick watch.
Because anyway.
So I think he did that thing, the book report thing, where it's I don't want to read this whole book. I'll just watch the movie and do the book report, and kind of hope for the D. You know?
Yeah. Back in the day, that used to be the play. Nowadays, there's so many easier ways to cheat.
Yeah. Than sitting through a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yes, I totally get that, him just feeling confident that these other things had adapted it faithfully, especially if you watch several versions of Dracula and identify the common threads out of them.
Yeah, the ones you like.
And you go, well, this has to be in the book because it's in both movies. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you just sort of... But the movies are all referencing each other, and so it does become a copy of a copy of a copy, and...
Yeah, I was reading some reviews and summaries and write-ups and things, and one of the things that I should have taken note of what they said because I just jotted it down. They said that this movie prioritizes vibes over logic.
At all times.
Because so many things in this movie do not make sense if you try to pull it apart or nail it down on facts.
Yeah, like
it only works as you just sort of vibe from one scene to another, and you let the star just sort of aura farm.
Yeah.
That's like the whole movie.
Yeah. So like a great example of that is the sunlight rule.
Yeah.
Where direct sun rays burn.
Yes.
But generally, sunlight is like sort of...
If there's muted clouds, you're going to be... Dracula can be okay.
Dracula can be in a big hat outside, and he's going to be fine. But if you hit him with like the magnifying glass and zapped him with a pure sun ray, that will burn. But he goes to Morocco. He goes to India.
Oh yeah, he's in a market, like supposedly that market with all the flowers and stuff is supposed to be in Baghdad.
Yeah,
he's in open sunlight in the middle of Baghdad. Like, I've been there.
Yeah,
it's hot.
Yeah,
and the sun, it doesn't just beat down on you; it crushes you.
Yeah, and so they're even with their own rules, they're very inconsistent.
Yeah.
And then like the plot point of the perfume.
Yeah.
Sure, has centuries of time. I can buy that a Eastern European aristocrat gets very into perfume in the same way that rich people just find a hobby and go deep on it. Mm-hmm. But then they tie it into like the perfume is what lets him control people, and that feels so superfluous to like an ancient vampire. Like, he doesn't need to use alchemy also on top of it.
I was thinking my when I was trying to feel generous about how to interpret this, he was basically, instead of having him do the Izot that the
Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, I look at you, and I mean we get some of that in Bram Stoker's Dracula as well, where he just
see me.
Exactly. When he stares at you and he uses his mind powers.
Yeah.
He was trying to replace that with something he thought was cooler, which was the perfume.
Yeah.
He wasn't having Dracula like mind control people. Okay. Yeah. All right, whatever. It's already a loose interpretation. I don't care if you want to have him use a different mechanism in order to have power over mortals.
Right.
Because in the book he just has power over mortals.
Yeah.
He doesn't need a reason. He just does it.
Yeah. So the perfume just feels like a hat on a hat. Mm-hmm. Although the perfume leads to a couple very cool sequences.
Yeah, like the dance sequence and stuff.
Yeah.
While it feels very A Knight's Tale.
Yeah.
Totally. Shoehorned into an otherwise not dance music number movie.
Yeah.
Although Knight's Tale, those all work.
Yeah.
Because that is a cheeky movie. This
is a very cheeky movie.
It tries to be campy, but it also tries to be serious, and it never tries to be scary.
No.
But it tries to be intense.
Yeah. It's the comedy of it surprised me. I was not expecting it to be, because at times it is like Sam Raimi Evil Dead-esque in its comedy.
See, I was laughing at it.
Yeah.
I was not laughing with it.
You weren't laughing with it. You did. Yeah.
Because it wasn't funny. It was funny bad. Like, Seriously, there's a snowy field with bear traps everywhere, and you don't know where the or wolf traps, probably bear traps, but you don't know where they're at, and so you have to go through, and you're tapping along.
Yeah,
who does that? You don't mine a field with bear traps in hope that it snows. First of all, those are not cheap, and also it's ineffective. Like, what is the point of that if you can send somebody a conscript with a stick to deal with it?
Yeah.
They don't make any logical sense, but then they become like a whole thing for that scene, and I was laughing at the incredulity of it. It's like, this is dumb. Whoever came up with this as a premise for a cool set piece, they are not smart.
Who put down the bear traps? Did the Turks put down the bear traps, or the Romanians?
That's the thing. It doesn't make sense for either group to put them down.
Yeah.
Because it's not effective. It is annoying because you have to have somebody clear them for you.
Yeah.
But if you're fighting back and forth.
Well, and it's like, it is behind they're not Romanians yet, they're Transylvanians or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's behind their line, right? So imagine if shit goes bad for them and the Turks push them back, they're going to have to retreat across the field of bear traps.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're guarding our rear. Like, Wallachia is safe from the Turks coming from the opposite direction.
Yeah,
yes.
It doesn't make sense for anyone to have put those traps out there.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy.
Well, and I backed up the scene. I watched it like probably 3 times to try and figure out if Dracula stabbed his wife, or if she had already been stabbed by the Turkish assassin, and because they make it ambiguous, but then don't do anything with the ambiguity of it.
Yeah, it was my impression that he did it, but it could have been the assassin. I don't know. I think it was like they were intentionally making it ambiguous, but that he did it. Yeah. You know, to where he could believe he did it, or he could believe he might have done it.
Yeah, but he doesn't seem to think he did it.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to think about much.
He thinks a lot about his wife and perfume.
Yeah. Oh man, this guy. So let's get into the visuals. That scene reminded me, because he's riding through the snow on the horse, the armored horse, and he's got his armor on, and all of that. And here's the deal: in that time, in that era, 15th century or almost 16th century, there is some dope ass armor in the world.
Yeah,
it is the height of armor making for the next century or so.
Sure.
His armor is busted. It is bad.
You don't like the dragon armor?
It's completely... It has no relation to any historical armor. A scale-like mantle over the plate that already covers that area.
Yeah.
And scales are not even as good as chainmail in that case.
Yeah.
The helmet is the only thing that looked even sort of okay.
Yeah.
And that was not even as good as the historical grotesque helmets, which aren't from Romania. They're from Germany. Right. So it's like, come on, dude. And so I was looking this up. Who did this armor? Who is responsible for this? Mm-hmm. This is a person who worked with him on the Joan of Arc movie.
Okay.
But the armor is really good in that movie.
Oh, you looked it up?
What the hell? So Terry English is the one who did that, and this armor was really a choice. And I get doing surreal, weird armor because he is copying Coppola's homework.
Yeah,
and that armor is hella surreal. But that's not the red Dracula armor isn't even trying to be realistic. It's trying to be demonic.
Yes.
And it looks like a flayed man.
Right.
And this armor just looks like crap-ass LARPing armor. I literally have seen LARPers with cooler-looking kits.
Oh, for sure. Oh, LARPers are more generally more concerned with accuracy.
No. Fantasy kits. Like, I've seen cooler fantasy LARP kits than this. The ones that are made out of resin and stuff, but look real.
It strikes me as a lesser Targaryen sort of thing. Like, it feels sort of Game of Thrones, but not as good as like when we see the Targaryens in their dragon-themed armor. It's generally better executed.
Yeah, like in the Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Yes. That Targaryen armor is awesome. Yes. Every single one is personalized.
That's the vibe that they're shooting for here, and they're not hitting it. I agree with that. I do, like, as just a piece of fantasy armor, it works for what they're doing to me anyway. Like, I thought it was cool enough. It reminded me a lot of Excalibur, Borman's Excalibur.
Sure,
especially like the slow motion riding through the snow on horses felt very Excalibur-esque.
I'm gonna go a hot take here.
Okay.
Best Dracula armor from any Dracula movie is from Dracula Untold. Best armor.
I have a hard time arguing with it because it
looks like you could fight in it. It's like hardened leather with reinforcement.
With the dragon details.
Yeah.
They marvelized the Coppola armor. They essentially made like a superhero version of it, a comic booky version of it, and it works for that movie.
Yeah, because he runs around in it and he does cool things, and it's dark.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't Besson have the armor blackened?
I don't know. It does seem, because it is shining knight.
Yeah, it's like good guy armor.
Well, he's still a servant of God at that point in the story. Yeah, he has not gone to the dark
he later
side.
goes and completely murders the priest with the cross and all of that. But yeah. So I mean, I'm a notoriously hard on armor and costumes. Yeah. On the other hand, the 550 costumes created for the dance scene, those were awesome.
Oh yeah,
it looked amazing.
That whole sequence, like,
it's almost like Frenchies can do French shit right.
Yeah. Well, you got to imagine, like, very background people, they just have that shit on available to rent.
Yeah, Costumers Guild, movies.
Yeah. So the costume design is by Corinne Brond, who I believe most of these people are repeat Besson collaborators. Yeah. And I thought the costumes were really good. They're often almost direct copies of costumes from Coppola's Dracula. Yep. Like Mina, I was like, that's the exact same thing that Winona Ryder wore, I think. Like it.
Oh yeah, and then
it is so close to it that, like, I mean, if you pull up a side by side, they are not identical, but it does completely make you think of the costumes from that movie. The top hat that that he wears.
The London Dracula is such a copy of Coppola's London Dracula when he becomes like,
this is Paris Dracula.
Yeah. The London Dracula and the Paris Dracula are like the same dude. And it's a great look.
Yeah.
Like that look.
But he doesn't have the cool mustache. You getting
the
stole
mustache.
his Dracula mustache. But Caleb Landry was unable to wear it because you brought it over here.
Mine is an homage to the late great Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
But yeah, the costumes were good in Paris. I think once they got to Paris, costumes became good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, the stuff in the castle, they're just in like their
generic
bed clothes. Yeah, and that's all fine. I like the scale because the scale is just ornamental. It's not there for
like the big mantle on the armor.
It's just there to. It's not there to protect him. It's there to give dragon.
I understand that was the case.
Yeah.
But here's the deal, like that armor would have had, basically it would have been plate over chain.
Yeah.
And so what they should have done if they wanted to give dragon is they should have done plate over scale. And it would have looked really cool. It would have looked like an armored dragon.
Yeah. Instead of like a armored blanket,
like a scale, like someone made like a scaly scarf and put it on him. Like, I don't know, it just looks weird. is bad. 2 thumbs down.
2 thumbs down.
I wouldn't fight in that armor.
No, yeah. He does move well in it.
Because it's made of resin. It's movie armor.
It's not actually made of steel or even aluminum.
Yeah, I mean, and resin armor is the standard. Like, they do that in all the big movies these days because it looks good. And there's no the thing is the craftsmanship isn't bad. It was just stylistic decisions.
And so this might come down either to the production designer of Hughes Tissandier or the art direction by Gilles Boileau. They probably did the sketches and illustrations that the armor would be based on.
So I saw, now that you mention it, because I did some deep diving on this. I had some time, and I looked up. I did like Dracula Besson armor. Like I did a bunch of.
You wanted to go, and get to the bottom.
And I found this concept sketch. It's out there, and it actually looks pretty cool because he's tall and it's like he's imposing up top, like broad shoulder, almost like superhero-ish in the way that it's set up. But when you compare that sketch to what you get on screen, it just doesn't do it. It was like they drew a picture of Henry Cavill in armor, and then they got a dude who's not huge. Yeah. And so the armor needed to be scaled down, or it needed to be slimmed down, or something. But basically, like it had a nugget of a decent idea that ended up being highly mediocre. In
is this? I'm showing the illustration.
That's one of them. Yeah, the one Nick pulled these up. That it's where it looks pretty draconic with the scaly stuff down the arms and stuff. But there are some. There's one more where you get a whole body shot of him.
It is interesting, like because that I'm looking at pictures of the armor, the actual armor. I know this is great audio. Me looking at pictures, but the shape of the man within, and that he is not as tall as the guy in the illustrations, does do a lot to how the armor hangs on him.
Absolutely. Like if you, it's just like a suit. Armor crafting is like tailoring. Yeah. If you're tall, you wear certain cuts of suits. If you're shorter, you wear different cuts because they make you look different. Yeah. And they did not take that into account for poor Jones.
Because he looks so thick and like bulky in the armor.
Yeah, he looks like chunky in the armor, but he's not. Yeah, he's like a slim dude.
Well, fascinating. Okay, so we've got that. I have not mentioned yet the cinematography is by Colin Wandersman.
Yeah, no hate there.
And the SFX are by MFX with the design and sculpt on the old the Nosferatu-y hair-bun Dracula by Jean-Christophe Magnond and Denis Gaston. I love all that stuff. I love, even though it is just a total ripoff of the Gary Oldman down to the hair buns, I love the creepy old Dracula in his castle entertaining Jonathan. That's always a highlight of like every Dracula,
yeah.
And I really like this version of it. And like just the little details of him like juicing a mouse into his wine cup so he has something to drink while Jonathan is eating, and I like all that stuff.
Yeah, I wonder why there weren't the brides in here, but I guess that wouldn't make the love story as pure.
Yes, he does not have brides. He has little child gargoyles, and he does make these sort of the people that are the stand-in for the brides of Dracula, but they're more his minions, right?
Yeah,
like Maria.
Yeah,
They're not stuck in his castle. They're out searching for Elisabetta.
So where do you come down, since we're still on the visual stuff, where do you come down on the CG gargoyles?
I thought they were pretty fun. I thought I was not sure what was lurking in the castle, right? Because one of them like donks Jonathan in the head and strings him up for interrogation, and it kind of like growled like a wolf.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking they're going to be sort of like wolfy, sort of little werewolf minions or something like that is what I imagined. And then when we see them, they're animated gargoyles, and it's like, that is not anything that you ever associate with vampires, or I don't.
No.
But I did find them fun. I thought they added a sort of not quite comic relief. Like they're not like the little yellow minions. Like they're not like that. But they do behave in a way that's sort of humorous, and they sort of fuck up and they lose Jonathan. So I enjoyed the gargoyles, but I was often baffled by their inclusion, and then baffled by the revelation that they were a bunch of little bald boys.
Yeah, I thought at first I thought, oh wow, that's weird, and then as they got more, you see them more and more, and then you like they almost occasionally have like little comedic moments.
Yeah,
I just thought, oh, these are the Ewoks.
The Ewoks of Dracula.
These are the Ewoks. They put these in because they're cute, and they do not belong. This is a bad idea. This is another ill-conceived notion from someone who's never read the book. Dracula drove his own carriage because he didn't have servants.
Yeah.
The only people in the castle they don't even call them the brides in the book. They call them those three weird sisters.
Right.
And it is implied that one of them is blonde and looks different, and the other two look like Dracula.
Yeah.
They maybe they're his daughters. I don't know. It doesn't say, but we know there's a movie about Dracula's daughter. Anyway, they're the only other people in the castle.
Yeah.
Aside from the servants who come in and serve him and then leave.
The Romani people that like... Yeah.
These gargoyles are nowhere. You can't have these gargoyles.
It does seem like it's answering a question that is answered in the text or has been answered in other films, is that Dracula just hustles his ass off to give the appearance of having servants. Yeah,
like what he should have watched Shadow of the Vampire.
Yeah. Because Willem Dafoe explains it
completely.
So beautifully in that movie. I think he thought, well, someone's got to be setting this table. Who does it? And he's French, and so he falls to these tropes of these French fairy tales.
Yeah,
and has the animated gargoyles. It just like it is you can see how his brain gets there, but it feels so wrong. Although I ultimately enjoyed it, especially like when they're like power bombing and suplexing soldiers.
Dude, when they were doing pro wrestling moves on the soldiers by the final act, I was so done with these bad decisions, because I feel like they're like, so this movie was long. You could have, if you stripped out about 30 minutes of this movie and undid some of the really bad decisions, there actually could have been a pretty core, decent romance horror in here, but it does not include gargoyles. It does not include the perfuming plot.
So you'd get rid of the gargoyles altogether?
Immediately, completely. Okay. The perfuming plot, it should just fully be cut, and it wouldn't change anything about the movie. Yeah. It didn't contribute to anything.
Even if you just showed those sequences in sort of a montage of the intervening centuries.
Yeah.
Without going into, like, explaining it. Because it's always, like, when you're explaining something that doesn't need explanation is when you kind of screw yourself over in a story like this.
Yeah, like if you're doing genre fiction, like if you're doing an established thing, if you're like, say you're watching a fantasy movie or whatever, and the night is riding up and there's a big cave, he doesn't stop and he says, ooh, dragons live in caves like that. I had better beware because they can breathe fire.
Yeah.
You're like, bruh, we know what the genre is.
Yeah, so you don't need to explain how he controls people. He controls them because he's Dracula.
Yeah.
So you can include that stuff. You can put him in those places and kind of show how he's made his army of minions that go out and search for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could show all that without the contrivance of the perfume. You could show, or you don't. No one ever shows how he sets the table. So to show the gargoyles doing it, it's like it takes the mystery out of it. And then creates a problem where did these gargoyles come from? Like, it solves a problem that didn't need solving and creates a new problem that it doesn't bother to solve.
Yeah, sometimes it's better if you just have some mystery. You just let it be like, how does the table get set? We'll never know.
Yeah. But see, I'm kind of, I think maybe we were on like opposite journeys with this film, where I warmed to it. The longer I was watching it, the more I just sort of like was into the ride. Whereas I think it gets harder and harder for you to endure it. Like, you're getting less favorably inclined to it towards the end. And by the end, I'm ready. I'm down with everything. I'm just like, okay, they're wrestling gargoyles. Like,
yeah, by the end, I'm just totally done with it. I'm just like, this is. I'm glad that it's losing money.
Yeah.
I hope he never gets another bundle of cash again.
Yeah. By the end, I'm rooting for Dracula. Like, at the beginning with the stuff with his wife and everything, and the opening of the movie, I'm not enjoying any of that. And by the end,
it was all bad.
When he's just chopping through soldiers, I'm like, this Dracula kind of kicks ass. Like, him and the Luke Evans Dracula Untold are both pretty good, like, heroic Draculas, as far as like Draculas that go out.
Aren't they making another one in the Dracula Untold?
No, that's just a dead universe.
No, we should get another about the Sire.
I did. Yeah, I love Charles Dance as the Sire. Audio. Here's another bright point.
Bright point here.
Score by Danny Elfman.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, I've listened to it so much. I kept having this sort of Tim Burton vibe watching this movie, right? Like, I kept thinking...
Yeah, it was like a Tim Burton movie.
It was making me think of Beetlejuice and that sort of era of Tim Burton. And then, you see the credits at the end, score by Danny Elfman, and it's like, oh, of course. That's how he was making me have those feelings. He was giving me Tim Burton feelings by having the Danny Elfman score. And the score uplifts this movie at all times. The movie feels better than it is because the music feels appropriate. Like, the music is telling the story that the movie is not always managing to tell you.
Yeah, it felt like it was evoking a little bit of Corpse Bride, little bit of Edward Scissorhands, but also music from the Coppola Dracula. It kind of felt like it had some themes from that, while having its own.
The Volta score.
Yeah.
That's another score that I've listened to so much, so that totally tracked.
I mean, I think this was good. The main themes that he had, I mean, Elfman can make a movie soundtrack. That's a movie score. He's really good at it. I think this was one of his, I wouldn't say it's one of his best, but it is definitely good.
Yeah. Solid late period.
He had never done a straight up vampire movie, so he just leapt at this when he was asked.
Yeah.
And there you go.
And it's do we need to, we went in hard on Besson's allegations. Do we need to mention also that Elfman has some Me Too's of his own?
Yeah, Elfman's a bad guy too, so this is just bad guy flick.
Men will always disappoint you if you find out too much about them.
That's true.
Yeah. Anyways, good score from a guy that maybe made bad choices and victimized people.
Yeah.
And then the sound design is by, this is going to be a tough one, Guillaume Beauchateau. Hopefully got that right. Good sound design.
Yeah, it sounded fine. Mm-hmm. This movie looked fine. It sounded fine. It was the things that were wrong with this movie were choices.
The storytelling choices.
Absolutely. They were all choices that were intentionally done. And so, that's artistic vision for you. You may not like it.
Yeah. But you can't say it's not his version of this
It's
thing.
his version of Coppola's version.
It's his version of Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's a remake. I do think that is
okay. So if you take the thing away that was core to that other movie, Dracula searching across centuries for his reincarnated wife. That's the seed of the Coppola movie, right. And it's from no other movie.
Well, it's from The Mummy originally.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
It's from no other Dracula.
Yeah.
If you take that out of this, you have nothing.
Right. Okay. Is Luc Besson's Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula?
It's crazy.
But it is also Caleb Landry Jones as Dracula. So let's talk about our cast.
So this kid, he's probably not a kid. He's like an old guy.
Yeah.
He does a good job. I'm not going to say he does a great job because he is copying other people in his performances. He's Gary Oldman when he's old Dracula, and he's Tom Cruise when he's young Dracula.
He's a better Oldman than he is a Cruise.
Absolutely. He is a failure of a Lestat when he is young, brash Dracula when his wife is still alive.
But I like him as sort of simp Dracula that kind of simps around behind Mina.
He's a wife guy.
Yeah. I like that version. I do like those scenes in pre-revolution France. But I like his performance as just sort of love-struck puppy following Mina around the carnival.
See, I was just kind of annoyed by that. I was just like, come on.
It is so un-Dracula is the thing. It is a Dracula that is hesitant and tentative and none of the sort of things that we think about Dracula, right?
Yes.
Bela Lugosi, he gets to London and immediately puts on a tuxedo and goes to the opera. Like he goes out stunting, and this Dracula gets dressed up to go stunting, but doesn't feel like the king of the town.
Yeah, he is not a boyar.
Yeah, and I thought that was it's an interesting take to me. But then, like when he shows up in her room, I thought he was really charming. It's a Tim Burton-y sort of character, like
it's like an awkward.
It's a Johnny Depp Dracula.
He's an awkward sex pest,
sort of, but she's into it, so it's not a pest. He's just an awkward sex man.
Okay.
Yeah, awkward sex friend.
Okay. Yeah, this is not my Dracula, but I don't hate Jones' performance. I think he does a decent job.
Yeah.
He's better once he basically after the wife dies and he becomes old Dracula. I like all of that.
Yeah.
I also like the later stuff when he becomes basically like badass vengeful Dracula and he's like killing all the dudes. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Love killing priests. That's always
But I didn't
fun.
the whole perfumer plot line, just cut it.
Yeah.
Simp Dracula, cut it. Like there's just a lot of stuff in here that is very superfluous. It doesn't add to the story. And that is not Caleb Landry Jones's fault.
No,
he's just acting. Yeah, he's acting a script, and I think it almost feels like he is not acting in a Dracula movie. He's acting in some rando vampire movie.
Yeah,
he's just like, okay, cool, because this was written for him.
Yeah.
So Besson just wrote something he thought this guy would be good at. Okay.
Well, if this was called something other than Dracula, like if it was just like Orlok or, Mordock or whatever, make up a vampire.
Yeah, this is Bob's sex friend.
Bob's sex friend. Yeah. If this was Bob's sex friend, ancient vampire, and it was its own thing.
Also has to be ancient vampire.
And it was its own thing and not Dracula, wouldn't you just say, he's just Dracula, right? Like, wouldn't you think that?
I would say this is like Dracula's neighbor who Dracula looks down on.
So this isn't even Sasha, brother of Dracula.
No, this is not Dracula's brother. This is Dracula's annoying neighbor.
Yeah.
That could also be a sequel.
But again, we're not this is on the writing and, and not on Caleb Landry Jones.
He does a good job. I definitely think this guy should be a leading man in some other movies. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see him do something where he's doing the intense stuff and the action stuff, because I mean, it's so impossible to quantify like romantic tension or chemistry, but there was none.
Oh, you didn't think so?
Oh God, it was awkward. There was no there was no tension between these
sparks between them.
Honestly, I thought that the Mina and Maria had more chemistry.
Yeah, well, I would get to her a little bit later, but since you bring it up, Matilda de Angelis as Maria, she has all the heat in this whole movie.
Absolutely. She's a great actress.
And she has chemistry with literally everyone she looks at.
Yeah, like when she's on the screen with Christoph Waltz, you're like, are they gonna fuck?
Yeah, let's tie those together. Christoph Waltz as the priest, aka Van
Helpriest.
Van Helpriest. Oh man, I was gonna advocate for a older vetoed title for this episode, Big Drac Energy, but we keep coming up with these Van Helpriest. Bob, his sex friend,
Agent Vampire.
Bob's sex friend, Agent Vampire. So anyways, Van Helpriest and Maria. I find a vampire hunter that is sympathetic to the vampires.
Yeah, he doesn't hate them.
He does not hate them at all. He pities them and is fascinated.
He's like praying for them.
Yeah, and so it gets real squiggy real fast when you've got this beautiful young woman tied up in a dungeon and these men are going to lord over her. But it is like oddly, what's the word? Not sincere, almost wholesome.
Yeah, because she's like chained up in a room in a cell and you're like, ugh. And then he goes in there and yeah, you're right. There's like this weird power dynamic, but then he is so priestly. Yeah. He's like
in the good way.
Yeah. Yeah. Like he is not like, cause she's not a little boy.
Yeah.
Oof. Sorry guys. Anyway, he like talks to her and he's praying for her and he's trying to get information and it's like it doesn't get bad.
Yeah. And she's totally sympathetic and like, she does bad things because she ends up feeding on the boy that's like the orderly or whatever.
Yeah, she's a vampire. They're gonna do vampire things.
And she turns him though. It's not like she kills him.
Yeah, that's a gift.
She turns him into a vampire. And so I just
honestly, if any vampire's listening and you have to feed on me, also make me a vampire.
Also, just don't kill me. Curse me.
I'll be your buddy.
Yeah. And it's those are kind of two of my favorite characters. Maria and the priest are two of my favorite characters.
I actually liked Maria because I get that character.
Yeah.
You understand what she's doing, what she's all about. Yeah. The performance is excellent.
She's in a fun vampire movie. Like, she is enjoying being a vampire.
She is definitely a party vamp, and she's just like all about it. And it's like, okay, this is a cool character. I like this. It's well written, and the performance really brings it out.
Does she get killed? I don't think she gets killed, right? She makes it through?
Yeah, I think she just sort of disappears, right? Just sort of...
Because her husband, her human husband gets killed, or her fiance.
Yeah, she reunites with him, and it gets dark.
Yeah. But yes, I thought she was really good. Christoph Waltz is always good and elevates elevates the movie.
He was very subdued. This was not an Inglourious Bastards or a Django Unchained. This was not a big Christoph Waltz like energy piece. This was him being serious.
Yeah,
and it added some gravitas where I don't think anybody else was like giving the serious vibes.
He is uplifting the material.
He should have been Dracula.
He'd be an interesting Dracula. And then we have danced around her, but Zoe Blue as Elisabetta / Mina Murray. Also good. Solid.
Yeah, she's the daughter of Rosanna Arquette. Okay. So I was talking to Carrie about this. I was like, so where do you fall on this Nepo baby thing? Thumbs up, thumbs down. And she had because I'm a hater on everything. I'm like thumbs down to start off with. But the point was made that she probably was in classes and training and doing drama since she was a child. So often some of these Hollywood Nepo babies are actually quite good just because they have like a decade of practice.
Yes.
When they're in the prime of their youthful life.
Yeah. I think the Nepo baby in acting is slightly different than Nepo baby in business.
Or music where it's like...
Yeah. So they do have a leg up, obviously, by being famous. Being associated with famous people, just in connection, even if they're doing something like this, like
change the name,
or using
like Emilio Estevez.
Yes, exactly. You still have to show up and be able to act. Right?
Yeah, if you don't do the thing, you don't get another job.
Yeah, and it's not like where you're like, what are you going to do? It's Patricia Arquette's daughter. We have to hire her. No one is doing that.
Yeah.
So it does give you a leg up. But ultimately, you still have to deliver the goods, and I think she does good.
Yeah, I think that this is her biggest role to date, and I think I actually liked her better as Mina than as Elisabetta.
Yeah,
because I felt like she just had more power, and the character had more autonomy, and she kind of was at the helm.
Yeah, Mina, and that's part of what I think. I don't remember which episode it was, but we had an episode titled "Vampires Don't Respect Consent" or something like that.
Yeah.
The fact that she seems so in charge and Dracula seems so unsure negates the thing that's normally there with these stories.
And with Luc Besson's life.
Or with Luc Besson's actual life. Yeah, where the consent is so muddy just because the person is a vampire. He doesn't use the perfume on her, so he's never influencing her.
Yeah, and I'm on record through many Dracula movies that Mina's my favorite character in the book.
Yeah.
Aside from Dracula, probably, because he's like the guy. But she's the coolest and I think she's the most well thought out and deepest character.
Certainly.
So seeing her done dirty in a movie always pisses me off.
Yeah. Like how many movies are Mina and Lucy treated interchangeably?
Yeah, they're like or made one person or they changed it. Yeah, they do a good job here. And that we can thank Coppola for that.
Yeah, that's true because she's not copying Winona's performance.
No.
I think she maybe even I'm not going to say it's better.
Yeah, it's on the level.
Yeah, it is on a similar level, and it is not. It is in debt to on paper that version of the character, but it is not like she copy pasted that performance.
Yeah, I think the script writing was inspired by that version of Mina.
Yeah, I've got Ewan's Abid as Jonathan Harker.
Yeah.
I like this Jonathan.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I literally always like Jonathan.
Yeah, he's very, very easy to like.
I like this version of him, and I like how he bargains his life essentially by getting the Count talking.
Yeah,
and then the Count likes him. You know what I mean? And so, like, even at the end, like when he's running around killing people, and he kind of like scooches Jonathan out and is like, Don't make me break my promise to you. Like, cheese it out of here. And
even though he stole his lady.
Yeah, I know. And it's so sad, like, at the end when he goes to his wife and or demeanor Ed, she's just like, I've forgotten all about you. Like it's all just in their faces. Like she looks at him like she is heartbroken that the love of her life is dead and he's not it. And he's like, I guess I'll just go back home. Yeah. Like he looks like, so why did I even do all this? Yeah.
Yeah, he does a good Jonathan Harker.
Bertrand Xavier Corby as Captain Targul. That's the guy at the hospital, right? That brings the priest in.
I think so. Yeah, the rest of the characters are also there. I mean, it's just like and also
Henry was there. Yeah,
yeah. There's a lot of characters from the book that aren't present here.
Oh no, he's Armor Dracula's right hand guy.
Oh yeah, the guy who tells him like not to curse God and all of that, and like drags him out of.
We ought not to be doing this, boss. Like at every turn, or drags him out of his sex friend bed.
Why didn't he make that guy a vampire and have him like go through the ages as his homie?
I don't know, because he rained on his parade too much.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the rest of the people are your people from the hospital and some other characters, but we've got through the core cast.
Yeah.
Personal highlight.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, I searched high and low, and I came up with my favorite part of this movie is the Coppola version of this movie. The second best part of this movie is probably the performance by Jones. Mm-hmm. I think he does a good job. He does a really good Gary Oldman homage. Mm-hmm. Like he does a solid job when he's in full costume and makeup, and he's embracing the vampire, old man vampire with the white hair and everything. I feel like that version that he was playing is the best version in this movie of the different Draculas. Probably ranked. We got Old Man Dracula, then we got Paris Dracula, then we have Transylvanian Warlord Dracula, and then finally we have Baghdad Dracula. That's my
perfumier.
Yeah, that's my ratings of Draculas. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Jones's performance of Dracula. How about you? What's your personal highlight?
My personal highlight, I had forgotten what I had written until I got here to my notes, but my personal highlight is Christoph Waltz as the priest.
Okay.
AKA Van Helsing or Van Helpriest.
Yeah. He's pretty good, actually.
And I call out in particular the sequence where he goes to interrogate Maria, which we just talked about a little bit ago, because it's just a really fun and totally without malice. I'm so used to the vampire hunter that like hates these wretched cursed things.
Yeah.
So a vampire hunter that's almost more of a scientist than he is like a holy warrior is just really, it's an interesting take on the character. And so anytime him and also Matilda De Angelis, anytime the two of them are on screen, I'm locked in. They were my favorite parts of this movie.
Yeah, they were great.
We have not talked about the sequence where Dracula goes to feed on all the nuns. That's how he gets makes himself young. That's one of the like best looking scenes in the movie.
Crazy.
Yeah.
He's on a nun pyramid.
Yeah.
Right at the top. They're crawling up to him.
And I actually thought that scene could have been more blasphemous, more depraved than it was. It's pretty restrained.
That scene just made me want this movie to be more of a horror movie.
Yeah. Because it's like the ancient sort of wretched form of Dracula going into a convent and like whipping the nuns into a frenzy.
Yeah, he turns the power on and just like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, like that's such a like blasphemous imagery.
Absolutely.
And I always like, it's amazing how restrained it ends up being. But also a very cool scene. What worked for you?
Danny Elfman's score is gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's so good. The Paris costumes, I really really like those, and I think generally the visual elements of this movie are generally on point.
Yeah.
obviously I've talked about all the stylistic decisions I didn't like about the armor. I also think the lighting was too bright. But generally speaking, I think this movie, especially the Paris scenes, are just awesome.
They look great.
I think that there's a certain amount of there were moments where the romance almost felt right.
Yeah.
Like the music box scene specifically. I want to call that one out because I feel like Caleb Landry Jones like truly committed to this role.
Yeah.
He did not hold anything back and he went for it. And there are moments where there's like a glimmering of excellence. I'm not going to say greatness, but it's like, it's there's something here.
Well, and that's, you mentioned the music box, and so he brings her back to the castle, and he gives, this is in the modern time, and he gives her the music box, and he's to Mina, and he says, Elisabetta, this was how she would call me if she wanted me to come, and he gives it to her, and then he just sort of leaves her, and she opens the music box, and you see like the look on his face, like he's so happy to have her back. And then that's right then when the soldiers attack the castle.
Yeah,
I think like that's actually a really strong scene.
Yeah, that moment made the list of what was working. So what about you? What were for you?
Danny Elfman's score does a ton of heavy lifting.
Yeah,
it elevates the movie. It is fun, and it does not take itself seriously.
That should be in the next column.
Yeah, it's very... I mean, like, I often thought of, like, the Evil Dead movies. Like, it has this sort of horror comedy thread to it that I didn't expect at all and ended up enjoying. And I liked a lot of these takes on the characters. They were easy to empathize with, like understand their motivations and sympathize and empathize with them. And it had me rooting for Dracula. I wanted Dracula and Mina to get a happily ever after at the end of the movie. And I knew they would not get that because it's not... Well, I mean, I didn't know that they wouldn't get it because this is such an off-the-book version of the story. You could almost imagine Christoph Waltz leaving as sort of being like, you know what, they're fine. And just leaving them there. So I was rooting for them to make it at the end. And that's an usually you're wanting them to go and save Mina. And this is a Mina that doesn't want to be saved and doesn't actually need saving. Yeah. What didn't work for you?
This movie is a ripoff. It is plagiarism without accreditation. I think that it is to say that it is anything more than a remake of Coppola's movie is just false. It is very clear that he didn't read the book and he took Coppola's version as gospel, and that was already a far out interpretation, a great far out interpretation. So that's just that. It's so ridiculous. If he did it on purpose, I would get it. But just bumblefucking your way into it? Come on, guy. The CGI gargoyles absolutely have to go.
Okay.
Cartoonish. They take you out of the gothic atmosphere, and they just are basically minions. They're just gray little minions. They're professional wrestler moves and all this stuff. They make this movie where it's already having trouble staying on brand and on theme and all of that. They take it even further. It's just bad.
Okay.
And so there are tonal inconsistencies throughout. Sometimes horror, like the amazing nun slaughter scene is so dark, and then you have simpy Dracula in the market, and you have
like a rom-com,
and you have the weird A Knight's Tale group dance number, and then you have the gargoyle minions. Just come on, just choose a tone and stay somewhere adjacent. The whole perfume subplot needed to go. It was just lifted from another movie, whole cloth. It was like like they didn't even file off the serial numbers. This just feels like there was not good chemistry between Jones and Blue. There was just no, like, I don't know how you can fix that in casting.
Yeah.
If you have them do scenes together and figure out if this is the right, obviously the movie was written for Jones. So I don't know how to fix that because I'm not a movie maker, but they maybe switch the roles and have Blue play Maria and have DeAngelis play Mina.
Yeah.
Because she seemed to have chemistry with literally anyone nearby.
Yeah.
She just has charisma.
Yeah.
So that just didn't work. And lastly, I don't think it's truly this movie's fault, but trying to do a grand vampire movie in the golden age of modern horror movies, impossible.
Okay.
You if you want to come with Dracula, you better come hard, because just like Nosferatu was badass,
Yeah.
he did it to the hilt. This was not to the hilt. This was a half-ass attempt.
Okay.
So, what about you? What didn't work?
Script underbaked. It
Half stolen.
half stolen. It just, they say that good artists borrow and great artists steal. So by that definition,
Ooh, he's amazing.
Luc Besson is a great artist. He steals from several classic films and mashes them together. It just needed more time in the bake. It's too stodgy, a little claggy.
Yeah, a little claggy. Yeah, that's my favorite bake-off.
The plot is claggy, and it just needed needed tightening up. The homages to Coppola's Dracula often cross the line from homage to plagiarism.
Yeah,
they go too far with. It is not just like, oh, that was a clever nod. That was like, oh, he lifted this whole sequence, or he took that costume and said, make this. You know, like he borrowed too heavily. As a great artist, he stole from them. And then finally, the rules of its own lore just feel inconsistent, especially in regards to sunlight and the gargoyles. Like, they're totally unexplained. So, I think I know where you're going. Final thoughts and rating.
So, I think this guy wanted to make, like, a swooning gothic romance with Dracula as the pretense. But someone already did that.
Yeah.
That's the problem. He tried to do something that someone already did. He thought that the romance plot is a core thing that hadn't been riffed on enough.
Right.
He thought that, Hammer didn't even touch on this plot. They just used the villain part of it, not the love part of it.
Yeah.
And so he thought he was doing service to an underserved thing.
Yeah.
And in reality, he took someone else's idea and underserved it.
Yeah.
And that's sad. Not sad for Luc Besson because he's a piece of shit.
Right.
It's sad for Danny Elfman, who made an amazing score.
Yeah.
It's sad for Jones, who did a good job as a leading man and will go down having his first big name leading role on a movie that flopped in the box office and got shit reviews.
Yeah.
It's sad for them. Yeah. It's not sad for Besson, who deserves this and worse.
Right.
I really am torn between a 2 and a 3 because it doesn't rate more than that.
No.
It's craptacular, so I'm going to go with a 2.
You're going to go
2.
I had what I wrote here is I'm letting it squeak by with a 3.
I mean, it would be the most generous of 3s
because I had a good time with it. But it is 2 is totally fair or more accurate than 3. It's like a 2.5.
It really is,
or a 2.75, and it's like I had a lot of fun with it, but it is a bad movie. So I think 2 is fair. And
I said, don't see this movie.
I think if you listen to this, you're going to know whether you would like the movie or not.
I would say this movie is for two people. One, you've never seen Coppola's movie. Well, then you might enjoy this because it's a unique take.
Yeah, but then if you how heavily it borrows from Coppola's movie is key to understanding.
I think standalone, you could just watch this and be like, "Oh, it's a romance vampire movie. This is like Vampire Diaries, but for
it's Twilight for this
yeah,
generation."
exactly. And then the other person who would watch it are people like us, who are just you watch everything called Dracula, and then you either love it or you hate it, and you're just gonna do it. So those are the only people that should watch this.
So I absolutely think a lot of the cultists would enjoy this movie.
Yeah, if they watch everything Dracula.
Yeah. And so I'll go with you. You've kind of talked me down to a 2. I was prepared. I was, like I said, it was a squeaker of a 3, and the true review reveals itself through our discussion a lot of the time.
I would say oftentimes I come in with something written down, but I'm usually willing to adjust it up or down based on how the discussion goes.
Yeah. This is a beautiful, bad movie that I had a lot of fun with.
Yeah, and so the critics, Rotten Tomatoes gives it 53.
Yeah.
Metacritic 44.
Oof.
IMDb generous 6.2 out of 10.
Yeah, it's finding fans as it's been on streaming. It is finding an audience.
Yeah, it's really weird how much they put into this, like how much effort, and there are some fantastic moments, but it's just all housed in like an igloo of shit.
It's a bad script.
Yeah,
everyone is giving it their best. That's where you say it's not to the hilt. I think it is to the hilt of what's like. No one is phoning it in here except for Besson writing it.
I think this is a prime example of why people need you need an editor that's willing to tell you no.
Yeah.
Because if he wrote the screenplay and then he handed it to his his bestie or the editor who he always works with, and they read it and they go, "Dude, this movie, it's Coppola's movie. Yes, here's a great adaptation of the book." No, the book doesn't have any of that. You're just taking from him. Nobody told him no.
Yeah,
you need someone who will tell you no if it's a bad idea. He doesn't have that guy.
Yeah, someone needed to say, none of this stuff is from the book. It's all from that movie. And he'd be like, "Oh, are you sure?" Have you read the book? Has anyone ever read a book?
Yeah. No one has ever read Dracula.
Yeah. It's 100 years old. Come on.
God, I've read it so many times.
If I want to read a 100-year-old book, I go to church.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's take a break, and then we'll come back with The Vault of Darkness.
Before we delve into the Vault of Darkness, we ask that all initiates of the cult follow us on your favorite social media platforms at Nightshade Cult.
If you've enjoyed this content, help us grow the cult by sharing it with like-minded people and leave us a review wherever you listen.
Before we get into the vault, did you have any dark tidings?
Nope.
All right, let's roll our dice and get into the vault.
All right. Ty. Holy smokes. What do we even do?
Well, I won the one from the dice roll from the clip that we just excised, so we could go with that.
Yeah, you can win the tie.
I win the tie because I won the first roll.
Yeah.
So anyways, the other day we decided to randomly watch this movie on Netflix. It came out a couple years ago, and I was aware of it, and I thought the trailer looked cool, but it didn't. Not that it had bad reviews, but it just didn't blow up in any sort of big way, and then I forgot about it. And then Lisa saw it in the tiles and was like, "This looks fun. We should watch this movie." They cloned Tyrone, directed by Jewel Taylor, who was his feature film directorial debut.
I saw the preview for this, and it did look amusing.
Yeah, the elevator pitch is it's a blaxploitation they live. It's set in the modern times, but it is aesthetically a blaxploitation movie, right down to the fact that it has film grain. It has there's real changes in it. Like you see so if you're watching a movie that's being projected on film, there's a circle in the corner of the screen, cigarette burn that signals the real change is coming up, and then there's a second one right at the time of the real change. There are cigarette burns all through the movie. It also has kind of scratches on the neck, like on the print.
Yeah.
So it has this like a very gritty 70s aesthetic, but it is set in modern America. And I don't want to spoil the twists of it, although the title of the movie does give away one of the major twists. This involves cloning, but essentially you have these three people played by John Boyega, Teyonah Parris, and Jamie Foxx. And so it is a drug dealer, a sex worker, and a pimp. And they end up uncovering a vast underground conspiracy that is being perpetrated on black communities across America.
Dang.
And it involves cloning, and it involves a number of other things. And to say much more than that, I think spoils any of the big reveals. But if you like John Carpenter's They Live, that sort of thing, or if you like the 70s blaxploitation movies or the modern sort of reinterpretations of that, like that you get from a Tarantino type movie, especially like the Grindhouse movies that he did with I can't think of his name, Robert Rodriguez. That sort of aesthetic, so that gritty 70s lo-fi aesthetic with the John Carpenter sci-fi social commentary. And it's got a cool, kind of retro score, and three pretty heavyweight actors in John Boyega, Teyonah Parris, and Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
People that are in...
They're in big movies.
They're in big budget movies, like, big franchise Marvel and Star Wars movies. Well, not Jamie Foxx, but Jamie Foxx is still in quite big movies.
Yeah.
He has an Academy Award, right? For Ray?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think so. So it is... it's Grindhouse material that's elevated.
Okay.
It stumbles, I would say, the villain explanation when you get to the big bad, and he explains his motivation and his big villain plan. It's very almost kind of steers the car into a ditch, sort of. Like you're like, God, this was so good until this guy explained what his plan was, and it's so stupid that
the plan is so bad.
Yeah, the plan is so dumb that it sort of derails the movie. But that's, maybe that's 5% of 95% of the movie that I thought was really great, and probably more on the rails and more focused than John Carpenter's They Live is.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it's very, very indebted to that movie in a lot of ways. But a bit tighter, I think, than They Live is. They Live is, everyone here is a better actor than Roddy Piper. God bless him. All three of these people are just much better equipped to lead a movie.
They're not professional wrestlers.
Yeah, exactly. He did his very best and is very charming in that movie, and it's part of the charm of that movie.
Yeah, I like that movie.
But these are serious, real deal actors.
Yeah.
And so, I thought it was a lot of fun, and it's, it came out on Netflix 2 years ago. So
yeah, it's been around.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch if something like They Live or Foxy Brown, if you're in that Venn diagram where those are two things that you like, this is totally for you. What about you? What are you pulling out of the vault?
All right, I got two quicker recommendations I won't go super in depth on.
Okay.
So first one is an album, and it's about vampires. I'm pulling out Atreyu, The Curse.
Oh yeah, their only good album.
So this album is great. It's from 2005, and when it came back, when it was came out, I was in Iraq, and when I came back, I'm pretty sure you recommended it to me.
I ripped you a copy copy of it and sent it to you.
There you go. So I knew you would know the origin, because I remember listening to this in my billet, and I was thinking, how did I get it? Yeah, you sent it to me.
Oh, yeah.
And I still have all of those CDs that you sent me. Anyway, so this album has, it has some throwback moments mentally for me, because I was in a whole different world, and kind of came back a different person as you do. But really, the reason I'm bringing it up, not only is it a vampire album, but in 2025, Atreyu re-recorded this album and re-released it. It's called The Curse 2025. Huh. And I think you should listen. You specifically, and all the cultists, should give The Curse 2025 a chance, because it still has the same lead, clean singer, Brandon Saller, who used to be the drummer and vocalist. Now he's just the front man. They have a new drummer,
right?
And the old grim singer is gone, and now the original bass player, Porter McKnight, is doing all the grim vocals, and he's better. He's actually just better at it than the other guy. And so they have re-recorded it and re-released it. And here's the cool thing. They didn't own the rights to The Curse, but they own all the rights to The Curse 2025. Every spin, every play on any streaming platform, they get the full revenue from it. If you go to download it and buy it, they get the full money. So support the band by listening to this version. I'm not going to straight up say that this eclipses and replaces the original, because that's a moment in time.
Yeah.
But just like you can like, a live version of a song from a band you like, this is the band doing the album that we love, and I have no metalcore shame for this. I unabashedly love this album.
Yeah.
I put it on and I sing along to all the songs.
Right on.
It's rad. I love this album. So go listen to The Curse 2025.
Curse 2025. Okay.
And then the other recommendation, I just finished a book. I always do a book, but it was really good. It's called 36 Streets, numbers 36 Streets, by T.R. Napper. This is if you combined Altered Carbon and a book I've never read, The Wind-Up Girl, and Apocalypse Now. That's what they say on their marketing material. But this is a fast-paced cyberpunk kind of action thriller set in Vietnam in the future. And it's about this gangster named Lin Vu, who goes through doing these investigations, and she ends up fighting against the colonizer Chinese. And in this alternate future, the Chinese have retaken any place that was ever an imperial Chinese territory.
Okay.
So like the whole Korean Peninsula, all of Mongolia, all of these places. And so she's fighting against the man. And it has to do, there's like gangster politics, but also like anti-colonial rebellion and lots of cool cyberpunk themes. This one, kind of like They Clone Tyrone, almost lost me at the very end, because this is a fairly longish audiobook, and there are some scenes in it that are absolutely brutal, like violent, brutal, but then there's also like a sexual assault scene that made me want to put it down, but I came back to it because...
I hate to be a baby, but I don't love that ever.
I hate it too. It's lazy writing, because you shouldn't do that to rile up a character.
Yeah.
And it's more complex than just that, but it is ultimately supposed to make the bad guys seem bad, which you can do without doing that. Anyway, at the very end, the choices that Lynn makes are very, very not what I wanted and not what any reader would want, but they make sense for the character, and she is a very brutal revenge-seeking character, and so you get it. But it is like a fatalistic ending, not a happy ending at all. It's a Pyrrhic victory kind of an end, but it's really good. So I recommend checking out 36 Streets if you want to read. It's got strong female lead. It takes place in Vietnam. So it's not your standard, generic Los Angeles or generic London kind of cyberpunk setting. And you have this cool, interesting throwback stuff because there's like a brainwashing video game that's out there where people are playing a throwback war, the Vietnam War. They call it the American War, and
that is how much of the world identifies that war.
Yeah, and so like there's like this weird throwbacks where she's in this like super immersive VR American War thing. That's where you get the Apocalypse Now references.
Gotcha.
And it's extremely grim. So yeah, I definitely think if you like cyberpunk, you like as a genre, this is a worthy entrant into that list.
Sounds cool. I'm interested. Yeah, kind of in both of these things. I'll definitely play that album because I have been skipping kind of modern drummer singing Atreyu.
Yeah.
But I do still have a great deal of affection for that album. So hearing a new re-recording of it's interesting.
I think you'll like it. I listened to it today, actually, before the podcast, and I was like, yep, this is great.
We'll check that out.
We'd like to thank you for joining the Nightshade Cult.
And until we meet again, we're wishing you unpleasant dreams.